Have you ever wondered why it feels so intimidating to start something new? And maybe you look at other people and think, wow, they're just so naturally good at that. It must not be for me. I've been in Milan the last little bit, I'm here for a few more days, but I've been completely taken over by this Italian concept of Sprezzatura, which if you've seen my other videos is not much of a surprise. But it's essentially this particular way you carry yourself. Originating from the 16th century in Renaissance Italy, to have Sprezzatura was to carry a subtle disdain for what other people found difficult. That things came easy to you, that you were just naturally good at things. And thus you'd softly look down at ordinary human limits. But I always wondered, what was the point of all of this? Naturally, society rewards ease and punishes visible effort. But there's gotta be more to that, right? So to understand, we need to go back to Renaissance Italy in the 1500s. Italian diplomat Baldassare Castiglione had written a book that was essentially a manual for how to move throughout life. It was set at the court of Urbino around 1507 and was a preservation of the social ideal at the time. A social ideal that emerged from a seemingly perfected social world. But with that came a specific anxiety. If everyone at the court was performing, be it selecting their words or their gestures with enormous care, how do you perform without appearing to perform? How do you be excellent without that excellence becoming grotesque? Castiglione presented a triad. First, Grazia, or grace, was the goal, defined as the quality of a person or action that appears to have been produced without the intervention of effort. But it's not a personal trait. In the confines of this example, grace is a reception effect. It exists in the eye of the beholder. You do not have grace, but rather you produce the impression of grace. This is an important distinction to make because it means grace is always contingent on who's watching. So if Grazia was the goal, then Sprezzatura was the method. Translated directly from Italian, Castiglione reads, to use in everything a certain Sprezzatura that conceals the art and makes what one does and says appear to come without effort and almost without thought. But note the language he uses, conceals. It's not a person that is naturally effortless, it just seems that way. He's describing a technique for making the effort invisible, where the art is real and the labor is real, but the concealment is what produces grace. And this is what's so fascinating about Sprezzatura philosophically, because the person who achieves it has done more work than anyone else in the room. And the proof of their success is that no one can tell. Which brings us to the last part of the triad, Affettazione, which is what happens when the method fails or where there's no method at all. Affettazione, or affectation, is the performance that reveals itself as performance, and Castiglione treats it with genuine contempt. And in the Renaissance register, it was extremely offensive because it was the exposure of wanting. And in a court culture organized around the performance of settled, inherited ease, being seen as wanting was social self-destruction. I tell you this because it's not that far off from what we experience now. And in a future video, maybe I can run through some examples of what this looks like in present day. After my friend's bachelor party though. I'll see you in the next one.